Ever sat at your desk knowing that you should be doing some prospecting, but you find every reason not to do it? You're only human if this happens to you from time to time, or perhaps even more often. There are three P's that are holding you back from prospecting, but there's a simple way to overcome them. So says Jeb Blount in Fanatical Prospecting. Welcome to the Bite Size Sales Podcast, where we believe that sales is the most important team in a B2B company, that the sales team deserves great sales skills training but usually doesn't get it, and that taking bite-sized steps each day to get better at your craft is the best way to improve results. I am your host, Andrew Monahan, and I'm using my experiences in B2B sales to bring you simple, actionable ideas every day to help you get better. Procrastination, perfectionism, and paralysis by analysis are the three P's that hold us back from prospecting, says Jeb Blount in his book, Fanatical Prospecting. And I think I suffered from all three of these in my career and probably even in the last month. And procrastination being the gold medal winner in the depths of my little Scottish brain. I remember a few years ago, I was at one company. I was in the frontline sales organization, and it was a pretty hardcore prospecting world. We were a startup trying to make our mark and get first meetings with people that have never even heard of our company name before. So it was hardcore prospecting. And I was making a bunch of cold calls and emails and all the things that we do. And then we purchased, as a sales organization, a power dialer, which some of you may be familiar with. Basically, you plug in your list of people that you're going to call, and they call 10 to 15 of them at a time, and then connect you as soon as someone picks up the phone. So your experience is that you kind of sit there and you see them dialing away, and suddenly you hear a beep, and it tells you who you've connected to, and you immediately go in the conversation. It's pretty hardcore. In the process of the onboarding with this company, I was set up with a one-on-one call with their trainer. And my thought that this was someone who's going to jump on the phone and explain to me, well, here's what these buttons do, and here's how you load your list and things like that. And there was definitely a bit of that. So she went through that, and then we loaded my list up. And then she suddenly said, okay, your list is loaded. I'm going to hit the start button, and it's going to start making the calls. Get ready to talk to the first person that picks up. And I think my heart just about jumped out of my chest, right? I was sitting there going, you got to be kidding me, right? And I tried to stammer something about, oh, look, I'm busy. I've got other calls to do. I've got more important things to do. All the kind of, procrastination things started coming out of my mouth and in my head, really kind of trying to hold me back. But at the end of the day, she'd press the button and I could see it making calls. So I shut up and started watching it. And sure enough, got connected to the first one, heard the beep. And, luckily I'd be making cold calls because I kind of went straight into autopilot mode and just started doing what I did, give the first few seconds to try and get the conversation going, and away I went. And much to her surprise, I actually got a meeting on that first call. I think it was someone at Disney I've been trying to get hold of. And I was even more surprised than her, right? I just couldn't believe it, right? This totally taken out my comfort zone, got over all the things that are holding me back, and just started making the calls for me, which was the key. And it took her just to put me in the uncomfortable position for me to take and put me straight into action without any choice. And it's interesting in Jeb Blount's book, as he talks about the three P's, the procrastination, perfectionism, and paralysis by analysis. And he talks about how it comes up in our prospecting world. So to read from the book, when I'm working with salespeople who are being held back by all or one of the three P's, I get them focused on making just one call, then the next, one call at a time. Sometimes I get a list and sit next to them and dial two. When they see that I'm not getting blown out of the water by prospects, it gets easier for them to let go and take action. Sometimes I have to be a bit more direct to get them to jump into prospecting. The solution is to push them hard to just do it. Just pick up the phone and make the call. Let the what ifs take care of themselves. I know that might sound a bit harsh, but a push is sometimes what's required to break this destructive cycle. It's not much different from how I learned to swim. We've all found ourselves in the crushing grip of the 3 Ps. I observe salespeople endlessly obsessing and overthinking the potential outcomes of prospecting calls almost every day of my professional life. They convince themselves that they need to gather more facts, just need a little bit more training, or that the timing is not quite right. They squander time worrying about what ifs and look at me with puppy dog eyes, pleading for more time to get it right before diving in. The human mind abhors the unknown. In its natural state, it wants to be safe and secure. It doesn't like jumping off of a diving board into a cold lake or picking up a phone and calling a stranger. It panics in the face of change and clings to the status quo. Then it begins to convince us that all kinds of awful, dire consequences are imminent. But at some point, you've got to do something. Sometimes you just need a Coach Poss or a Coach Jeb to push you to take action. Regardless of your situation, the one thing you can be sure of is that allowing the 3 Ps to stand in the way of prospecting extracts a high emotional and financial cost. So there you have it. So the example that he gave in the book is not that dissimilar to what happened to me with that trainer from the Power Dialer company that we started working with. And at the end of the day, just making that first call, just some sort of forward momentum can make such a difference as you're looking to inject some activity into anything, but also into your prospecting. So make that call, send that email, send that text, whatever it has to be, and then do it again, and then do it again. One of the laws of sales physics I've heard says that an object in motion is much harder to stop than an object at a complete standstill. So once you get going, it's easier to take the next one and the next one and the next one. So the takeaway from this episode is take that first step. It will make all the difference. If you like this episode, please share it wide and far. Spread the word. I get energy from seeing people download and use this content, so please just take 20 seconds to share it with anyone you think would like it too. This episode is sponsored by Unstoppable.do. Most sales teams are not trained effectively in the skills and mindset they deserve, and these are the most important people in the company. It's no wonder that only about 50% of reps make quota every year. Unstoppable is a service that helps sellers and leaders get great at the skills and mindset they need without taking time out of the field. It exists because if the sales team has the right skills and mindset, they thrive. They are confident and they perform much better. Find out more and even get a free sales book at bitesizesales.com. And now to wrap up. As Mike Ferrari, AVP Sales at Tanium, may or may not have once said, training without implementation is just entertainment, and pretty poor entertainment when Monahan does it. So make sure you take action on what you learn and keep getting better every day. This world does not need more sales BS, so don't create any more. Be great at the fundamentals, be honest, be real, be yourself, just do not BS. And finally, I'm signing off as the great Joe Sexton would by saying, gone to sell.